Welcome back to International Star Media, the Gold Star Standard, at the Gold Star Standard. Reactions, reviews, and news you can use. Once again, I am your host, International Yada, for the record saying the dollars. And check it out. You seen the title? Quit throwing your life away. Y'all better take heed to these stories. Take heed. You know somebody out there being reckless, send them my way. International Star Media, the Gold Star Standard, at the Gold Star Standard, right here on YouTube. Send them my way. Tell them to watch these videos, get his life right, get his mind right. Anyway, sentenced to 15 years in prison. Human trafficking, drugs, and minors. Big problem. Dealing with minors is a major problem. Let's get straight off into this. Here we go.
Man receives 50-year sentence in Longmont drug human trafficking case. A man accepted a plea deal Monday and was sentenced to 50 years in prison for providing drugs to St. Vrain Valley School District students in exchange for money and sexual acts.
Human trafficking, drugs, and minors. Said he received 15 years in prison for providing drugs to high school students in exchange for money and sexual acts. 50 years. That's what they gave him. 50 years. Students as young as 14. You're dealing with minors, they got somewhere for you. Shout out to them brothers out there in Oakland, California, keeping E14 clear and clean of you pedophiles. They catch you messing with minors, you're gonna get an international beatdown. Okay? Shout out to Oakland. Let's go.
Some of the students were as young as 14 according to court documents. Mario Moreno, 26, pleaded guilty to possessing a controlled substance and human trafficking of a minor as part of a deal. He was sentenced to 10 years on the controlled substance conviction, which will run concurrently with a 40-year sentence on the human trafficking conviction.
This was a plea deal. This was a plea deal that he took to 50 years. He took the plea deal to 50 years. That's interesting. If they would have found him guilty in trial, they probably would have gave him life without the possibility. You make your bed, you lie in it. 50 years in prison. Dealing with minors is a major problem. Don't do it.
Stop.
Moreno previously pleaded not guilty to 59 charges including sex assault on a child, human trafficking of a minor for sexual servitude, possession with intent to distribute a controlled substance, possession of a controlled substance, child abuse, contributing to the delinquency of a minor, tampering with a witness, possession of a weapon by a previous offender, money laundering, tax evasion and special offender drug charges. 50 years in state prison is the appropriate sentence for a man who preyed upon kids. He used drugs to lure kids in and then coerce them into sexual acts.
You heard what they said. They said 50 years is the appropriate sentence for leading and luring children in by using drugs and sexual acts. Don't do it. If you deal with minors, you're going to get what's coming to you. Don't do it.
County District Attorney Michael Doherty said in a release. In July, his co-defendant Aldair Garcia Rodriguez was sentenced to 35 years in prison after accepting a plea deal in February 2023.
Yeah, co-defendants. You see this? His co-defendant sentenced to 35 years in prison. He took a plea deal. He took a plea deal to 35 years. The other guy took a plea deal to 50. That's that pressure. You might think it's a game or a joke or something cool you doing, dealing with these minors. But when that hammer come down, adios. You out of there. Quit throwing your lives away out there. Find something legal to do. How about that? How about y'all just find something legal to do? In this age of technology, you can do this. Hop on the internet. Find something legal to do. Dealing with minors is a major problem.
Another co-defendant, Angelo Torres, pleaded not guilty and is set for trial in September. Officials said a grand jury found the defendants would sell drugs, cocaine, MDMA, marijuana, and marijuana concentrate to students at various schools throughout the St. Vrain Valley School District, sometimes in exchange for sexual acts. Longmont Police Chief Jeff Satter wrote that the investigation included hundreds of hours of surveillance, over 50 search warrants, and thousands of lines of conversation in social media files. The investigation began in September 2021 when investigators witnessed narcotics being sold at Lou Miller Park, according to grand jury indictments.
Think it's a game if you want to. You'll go down the same path that this guy going down. 50 years in prison. This is not a joke.
Game over.
Take heed. Pay attention.
Last-minute guilty plea in a case that involved human trafficking, drugs, and minors in Boulder County. Thank you for joining us here at 5. I'm Christine Noel.
And I'm Matt Morrow. A 25-year-old man decided to make the plea on the day the trial was supposed to start. It's a case that shocked parents who found out their kids were being sold drugs on social media apps.
Yeah, Fox 31's Vicente Arenas spoke with the Boulder County District Attorney and joining us now live from the justice.
Not just dealing with minors, trading drugs for sex. Doing it on social media apps, over the World Wide Web, thinking it's a secret.
What?
I think we're gonna have to do the story, or cover the information on how they can get into these social media apps, even if you deleted them. Okay. A lot of y'all need to find something legal to do. Trying to be slick. You're gonna learn the hard way.
Justice Center tonight. Vicente?
Christine, we did have that conversation with the district attorney today. Prosecutors telling us that Mario Moreno, who pleaded guilty, was kind of like the ringleader of this group. They would use drugs to entice minors and then coerce them to have sex.
There go that word again, coerce. He coerced them. That's what the report said. Force, fraud, coercion, violence, or the threats of violence could possibly get you life in prison. 80 years in prison, 50 years in prison, hundreds of years in some cases. Pay attention now, this is not a game or a joke. Pay attention to what's going on. Don't throw your life away. Everything is not for everybody. It's not for you. Find something legal to do. Find something legal to do with your life. Stay out the way. Or not. Or don't take heed. Follow in his footsteps and possibly receive 50 years in prison too. You can get you a fresh 50. That's what you're looking for? You can get you a fresh 50. Dealing with minors is a major problem and it needs to stop. Don't do it.
This case first began to unfold in Longmont at this park 4 years ago. Police found what they say was a man selling drugs to minors he met through social media apps like Snapchat and Facebook.
So Moreno was using drugs to lure young people in and then coerce them into sexual acts against their will, which is why he was charged with human trafficking as to 4 victims and why he's been sentenced to 50 years in state prison.
Boulder County District Attorney Michael Doherty says Moreno was the ringleader of a group that would target students in the St. Vrain Valley School District. In one case, Moreno, who was in his early 20s at the time, is said to have participated in taking photos of a 15-year-old girl in her underwear.
I think what makes it so disturbing, Vicente, is that it's another example of social media being used by predators to prey upon kids, and families have no idea that their kids are being targeted by and lured in by adults such as Moreno.
Doherty says there has been an increase in these types of cases.
These different agencies have access to your social media accounts, to your deleted photos, deleted messages, even deleted social media apps. Oh, they can pull it back up. Y'all pay attention to what's going on out here and wake up. This man was 25 years old. They just gave him 50 years in prison. 25 years old.
Involving adults luring children online. The DA says predators have an easier time preying on children on the internet. It's the reason he says his office has established a human trafficking unit targeting them.
You hear that? A human trafficking unit targeting people involved in minors on the internet. Hey, you dealing with minors, you get what you deserve. You get caught up doing this, you get what you deserve. Dealing with minors is a major problem, but it has to stop. We'll take this back a little bit. Let's go.
Increase in these types of cases involving adults luring children online. The DA says predators have an easier time preying on children on the internet. It's the reason he says his office has established a human trafficking unit targeting them. MSU Denver's journalism and media chair says parents should have consistent conversations with children about the platforms they're using and making sure they know what to look out for.
A lot of folks that you meet virtually online that are on the other end that you do not know, that you've never met, that you have not built a level of trust with, cannot be trusted.
That was a case with Moreno, whose trial was supposed to start yesterday. The DA telling us today that there were at least 10 victims involved in Moreno's case. One other man has already pleaded guilty. Another man is expected to have a trial in September.
No mercy for the weak. Preying on children, you get caught up, you get what you deserve. You get what you deserve. We don't care what you think out there if you don't agree with that. You get what you deserve. International Star Media, the gold star standard. At the gold star standard. Reactions, reviews, and news you can use. Once again, I am your host, International Yada, for the records and the dollars. And we will see you on the next one. Don't forget to like, subscribe, comment, and share.